Two cartel members are talking about how important family is. Darcy has just become a father, and because he is close friends with Victor, he makes Victor the godfather of his newborn son. Their moment of happiness does not last long because they are suddenly called to their boss's house. There they get the news that one of their own has been found dead. Their boss, a cartel leader named Alphonse, is furious. For the past 3 months, someone has been terrorizing his organization. Every time one of his men is killed, the killer leaves a hidden message on the body, either on a note or tucked behind a photograph. The message always carries the same line, a short question tied to the numbers 7, 1, and 9, as if asking whether Alphonse has figured something out yet. After thinking it over, Alphonse realizes that every photo the killer sends has a number written on the back. He convinces himself that this is the work of a rival in the business, and he does not feel like waiting around for the next body to drop. That night, he gathers his men and goes straight to the rival's headquarters. At that moment, Harry, the rival he suspects, is comfortably spending time alone with a woman. When Alphonse and his men burst into the place, Harry is caught completely off guard. Alphonse believes Harry is the one behind the terror, because 3 months earlier they argued about how much Harry should be paying if he wanted to operate in Alphonse's territory. Strangely, ever since that argument, Harry's men have been killed one by an unknown attacker. No matter how many times Harry insists he is not the culprit, Alphonse refuses to listen. Even Darcy, who knows Harry fairly well, tries to step in and suggest that they might have the wrong guy. But Alphonse is tired, angry, and no longer thinking clearly. When he finds Harry's handwriting and notices that it looks similar to the writing left by the killer, that is all he needs. In a split second, he makes his decision and shoots Harry dead. With that single shot, the real war finally begins. This is Dead Man Down. The sound of gunfire turns the building into a war zone. Harry's men immediately fight back, and a brutal shootout breaks out. At one point, Alphonse runs out of bullets, gets separated from his men, and ends up trapped in a room with no way out. Victor notices that his boss is in danger, rushes in to help, and manages to reach him just in time. The gunfight finally ends, and surprisingly, none of Alphonse's people are killed in the clash. From here, the story shifts its focus to Victor. After the job is done, he returns to his apartment to get some rest. While relaxing on his balcony, something catches his attention. Across the way, he notices a woman named Beatrice. Beatrice lives with her mother, and it is hard not to notice the scars on her face. Because of them, she often looks shy and uncomfortable whenever she meets someone new. Even so, the next day she gathers her courage and sends Victor a message with her phone number. She introduces herself over the phone, and without hesitation, invites him out for dinner at a restaurant. Throughout their conversation, Victor barely says a word. He is careful because one wrong move might expose who he really is and what he does. At the same time, he cannot help feeling curious about this woman who is so determined to meet him. Beatrice knows that she can no longer hide the scars on her face, so she opens up about what happened. She explains that the previous year, a drunk driver crashed into her car, destroying half of her face. The doctors did everything they could to repair the damage, but the result still left her marked forever. Later that night, Beatrice takes Victor somewhere unexpected. He follows her without knowing what this is all about, until they stop in front of an ordinary-looking house. This is the moment everything becomes clear. A few days earlier, Beatrice had witnessed Victor kill someone in his apartment. Instead of going to the police, she sees an opportunity. She offers him a deal. If he does not want her to report what she saw, then he has to help her get revenge on the man who destroyed her face. The court let him off with a light sentence, and Beatrice has never accepted that. Her anger runs so deep that she is not afraid of Victor. If he refuses, she is ready to send him straight to prison. The next day, Victor goes with his uncle to a port where illegal weapons are being traded. What stands out is that Victor is not there representing the cartel. It raises another question about who he really is. His uncle, who seems nothing like someone involved in crime, simply reminds him not to delay his plans. If an enemy can be eliminated today, then there is no point waiting until tomorrow. Back at his apartment, Victor watches old recordings of his late wife and daughter. This scene finally reveals the truth. He is the mysterious person who has been terrorizing Alphonse and his men for the past 3 months. His motive is revenge. Later that afternoon, he visits an old abandoned building just outside the city. Inside, he has been keeping a member of the Albanian mafia locked up like an animal. The man, once powerful, now cries like a child in front of Victor. It shows clearly just how dangerous Victor truly is. If he wanted to, he could have killed Beatrice without hesitation, but he did not. it becomes obvious that Victor only hurts those connected to his past. That evening, he returns to Beatrice's apartment to address her request. What she wants from him is not easy, but between killing an innocent woman or helping her seek justice, Victor chooses the latter. During their conversation, Beatrice's mother suddenly appears. She assumes Victor is romantically involved with her daughter and treats him like a future son-in-law, even handing him a box of homemade cake before he leaves. Meanwhile, Victor continues operating in secret. He has already tapped the phones of everyone working for Alphonse, meaning nothing is hidden from him anymore. So when Alphonse is summoned by a higher-ranking mafia boss named Lon, Victor already knows about the meeting and has prepared for it. The new rifle he recently purchased was no coincidence. It was part of his plan from the start. Lon does not call Alphonse just to ask about Harry's death. He has also received threats from the same unknown person. That is when Alphonse finally understands the truth. The man hunting him is still alive. Victor's plan does not go as smoothly as expected. Beatrice has followed him, watching everything from a distance. At the same time, Darcy discovers that Harry was never responsible for the earlier attacks and rushes to warn Alphonse to get out. Even with everything falling apart and the risk increasing by the second, Victor continues with his plan and opens fire on Alphonse. Within moments, the building is surrounded by Alphonse's men. The emergency exit is no longer safe. Victor quickly changes tactics. He slips into a partially renovated unit and creates the illusion that he escaped through a cable line outside the window. One of the guards tracks the trail and follows him inside. But Victor has already anticipated this. He waits silently, takes him down, and uses his body to block the window as a distraction. Victor finally manages to get outside, but the chase continues. In the middle of his escape, Beatrice suddenly appears with her car and offers him a way out. With no other choice, Victor accepts. A moment later, he calmly pulls over and acts as if he and Beatrice just arrived together like a normal couple. His performance is convincing enough that no one suspects a thing. Soon after, police sirens echo through the streets, pushing Alphonse's men into panic and confusion. Meanwhile, the key Lon gave Alphonse leads to a mailbox at his home. Worried it might contain a trap, he orders one of his men to open it. Inside, they find an automated audio device and an envelope with another cryptic clue. The game continues and the pressure grows. Later that night, Beatrice visits Victor's apartment to return the weapon that was left in her car. Victor is frustrated because she followed him, but he also knows that without her intervention earlier, he might not have survived. Now that she has seen too much, Victor finally reveals the truth about his past. He tells her he is originally from Hungary. After serving in the military, he moved to America, earned an engineering degree, and built a peaceful life with his wife and young daughter. Everything changed the night Alphonse and his men terrorized the apartment building. Their intention was only to scare people, but one stray bullet pierced the wall of his daughter's bedroom and killed her instantly. Seeking justice, Victor went to the police. Fearing consequences, Alphonse hired the Albanian mafia to silence him. They shot Victor's wife and left him for dead. Somehow, doctors managed to save him from a coma. Once he recovered, he disappeared, faked his death, and created a new identity. Since then, everything he has done has been driven by revenge. Beatrice is stunned. Her perception of Victor shifts entirely. She hands him a small charm for good luck, hoping he succeeds in the vengeance he has waited so long to complete. Every night, Victor sits alone watching old videos of his daughter. Those recordings are his fuel, a reminder of what he lost and why he cannot stop. They keep his anger alive and his mission focused. Meanwhile, Alphonse finally realizes something is wrong. His phone has been tapped. Deep down, he already suspected it. There was no other way the mysterious attacker could have known about his private meeting with Lon. With that confirmation, Alphonse begins planning a counterattack. The next day, Victor heads to one of Alphonse's usual hangouts. He is not there to socialize. He is testing the distance and response range of his bomb trigger. Unknown to everyone, Victor has already planted explosives across the rooftop of the building. Just as he finishes checking the signal, Alphonse unexpectedly shows up. Victor keeps his composure and acts like he simply walked out of the restroom, hoping to avoid suspicion. It works, but Alphonse still senses something unusual. When Victor returns home, he tells his uncle that the bomb trigger is malfunctioning. There is no more time to fix it. If his plan goes forward, he will likely die along with his enemies. While they speak, Beatrice arrives and overhears everything. She realizes Victor is prepared to sacrifice himself, and the thought breaks her. Victor misreads her emotions and assumes she is upset because she thinks he will not keep his promise to help her. He reassures her that there is still time to deal with the man who ruined her life. That same night, the package Victor sent finally reaches the Albanian mafia. Inside is a photo of their kidnapped brother along with a set of cryptic instructions. It becomes clear that Victor has been terrorizing them too, setting multiple groups against each other. At the same time, Alphonse sets up a trap of his own. He calls one of his men and announces a secret meeting. Victor plans to follow, but Darcy suddenly shows up and asks him to go somewhere with him instead. The story then cuts to Paul, the cartel member killed earlier in the film. He was originally assigned to investigate the attacks. Beatrice managed to track his last movements and learned that Paul visited a cemetery the day before he died. Now Victor is worried. If the cartel discovers the graves of his family, everything will unravel. Before he has time to process it, Alphonse summons him. By the time Victor arrives, 2 armed guards are already waiting, signaling danger. But instead of accusing him, Alphonse surprises Victor. He trusts him now. In his eyes, Victor is the only person left he can rely on, especially after Victor saved his life during the shootout with Harry's men. The next day, Victor returns to check on his prisoner. This time, he pretends to be sympathetic and offers help. He tells the man that since he is only a low-level member, he cannot release him, but he can record a message so his brother knows where to find him. What looks like a small act of mercy is actually part of a bigger plan. Victor wants the message to point back to Alphonse, making it look like Alphonse is the one behind the kidnapping.
Speak.
Alphonse Hoyt.
Once the recording is finished, Victor removes the blindfold. The prisoner finally sees who has been holding him, and his face changes instantly. He recognizes Victor as the man he shot 3 years ago. Not only that, he was the assassin Alphonse hired to kill Victor's wife. That realization is the last thing he processes before Victor ends his life and leaves his body for the rats. With that, Victor has avenged his wife. Only one target remains, the man responsible for his daughter's death. He had planned to deliver the recording himself, but Darcy calls and wants to meet. With no other choice, Victor asks Beatrice to deliver it instead. Before leaving, he returns the food container her mother gave him and thanks her properly. Meanwhile, Darcy continues investigating Paul's final days. He learns that before his death, Paul visited a Hungarian grave. At that moment, Victor begins to panic. If the cartel connects the grave to his past, everything will fall apart. That night, Beatrice gets ready to stop by Victor's apartment with proof that the package was delivered. She dresses nicely, but on the way, she is harassed and attacked by a group of kids who mock her scars and throw stones at her. Hurt and shaken, she calls Victor and asks him to come to her instead. While Beatrice changes clothes, Victor talks with her mother and thanks her again for the food. That is when he learns it was actually Beatrice who cooked it. In that moment, it becomes clear to him that she cares about him more than she ever said out loud. Beatrice may not look like his late wife, but her kindness is real. Victor begins to feel guilty, so he decides to repay her by taking her out the next evening. He even buys her a new white dress to replace the one damaged earlier. But before they can meet, Darcy calls. He has discovered the truth. The person behind everything is named Laszlo. That name belongs to Victor's former identity, the one everyone thought was dead. Luckily, Darcy has not found a photo yet, but this changes everything. Victor is running out of time. If he gets distracted by feelings for Beatrice, his entire plan could collapse. So instead of taking her on the date he promised, he takes her to find the man responsible for her scars. They find him drunk after leaving a bar, and Victor kills him on the spot. The deal between them is now complete. Beatrice never expected Victor to follow through, especially after the connection growing between them. Part of her even wanted to call off the whole arrangement just to spend more time with him. Meanwhile, Darcy brings Alphonse to the cemetery. He wants to confirm whether the rumors are true. It seems impossible that a man presumed dead could be the one hunting them. To find the truth, Darcy contacts the Albanian mafia who carried out the killings years ago. This is the day Victor has been preparing for. Everything he planned is finally in motion. Among all the people working for Alphonse, there is only one Victor does not want to kill, and that person is Darcy. To keep him safe from the coming explosion, Victor tries to find a reason to send him away from the headquarters. At the same time, the video package Victor sent finally reaches the Albanian mafia. All that is left is to wait for them to take the bait and storm Alphonse's base. When that happens, Victor is already in position with enough explosives to end everything. Before making his move, Victor leaves Beatrice a letter. In it, he explains that the drunk driver who ruined her face is still alive. The night before, he only beat him unconscious instead of killing him. Surprisingly, this gives Beatrice a bit of relief. And here is the twist. Victor is not the only one who broke a promise. Beatrice did too. The package she was supposed to deliver was secretly swapped. Instead of instructions that would trigger a war in Victor's suicide bombing, she replaced it with her good luck charm. That is why nothing has happened yet. She did it because she can no longer hide how she feels. The problem is, Victor already told Darcy to meet him at his apartment. When Darcy arrives, he discovers a hidden room behind the refrigerator. Everything in it confirms Victor's secret identity. At that exact moment, Beatrice also comes to the apartment, thinking Victor is there. She walks right into Darcy instead, and the truth hits her immediately. Victor calls and tries to convince Darcy to let her go. Victor explains that Darcy is never meant to be a target, and he only wanted revenge against the people responsible for his family's death. But Darcy refuses to listen. Instead, he takes Beatrice to Alphonse and exposes everything he has uncovered. Not long after, every phone in the house begins to ring. It is Victor. He warns them that he is coming, and the call ends. A split second later, a car slams through the entrance. Victor bursts out and unleashes gunfire without hesitation. Alphonse's men are no match for him. Within moments, half of them are already down. He did not choose a car just for protection. Hidden inside it is a bomb. Alphonse panics and hides in a back room while watching the chaos unfold through security cameras. One by one, his men fall. And even in the middle of all this destruction, Victor avoids shooting Darcy. While Alphonse desperately prepares a counterattack, Beatrice quietly begins setting her own plan in motion. Victor keeps fighting, but his ammunition is running low. With no other option, he begins throwing the last of his homemade explosives to keep the attackers back. In another room, Alphonse panics. He believes Beatrice has escaped. When he opens the door to check, he is met with a voice playing from a recorder. It is the voice of the mafia member Victor had captured earlier. The message is spoken entirely in Albanian, so Alphonse has no idea what it says. But the moment the Albanian mafia leader hears it, everything becomes clear to him. The message makes it sound like Alphonse was responsible for kidnapping his brother. Without hesitation, the mafia boss shoots Alphonse dead. Beatrice's plan works exactly as intended. With Alphonse gone, Victor no longer needs to finish him himself. The war between them ends without another bullet fired. Just as Victor prepares to leave, Darcy steps back into the room. Even after everything, Victor still refuses to kill him. Darcy may have made mistakes, but he has not been part of the cartel long enough to be beyond saving. And just like that, the cycle of revenge is over. Victor finally gets justice for his family, and the enemies who destroyed his life are gone. Now, instead of living in anger and shadows, he turns towards something new, a life beside Beatrice, a second chance, a chance to rebuild and finally find peace. So the moral of the story is, if someone asks you out for dinner and later asks you to help commit murder, maybe just block the number and go touch grass.